Welcome to episode 128. I am Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm still Kathy.
Welcome to a new episode of More Than Dice. For people that kind of were new, because some people asking to the stream end, no, you were just in the ultra uber secret part of the podcast called the pre-ramble. That shh.
Yeah, super secret.
I mean, it's so secret. I didn't even know it was a secret.
Welcome to a new episode. Today's episode is going to be a big hobby day. Kathy's going to be working on her C-Base. I'm going to be working on some judgment models and such. So we'll be doing a kind of like a split screen to do some of that stuff. But there are a couple of things we're going to have to do first. We also want to do our first things first. Thank all of our awesome sponsors. Thank Muson Minis for providing a place to host our podcast and bringing it out to the masses. If you don't follow them, make sure you do. Also, if you buy anything from them, use the code MORETHANDICE, all one word, and you get 10% off your order. We also, if you can't find us there, you can find us on a plethora of different devices.
Plethora.
A super plethora.
Super plethora. We want to thank Metalhead Minis for sponsoring us. Lynn is going to be helping us out with a bunch of stuff. She is super awesome. What else? We got Tectonic Craft Studios, Dan the Man. I'll be talking with him shortly about some cool new projects. We do have some things to give away, but we'll do that some other time from his store. And then we want to thank Creature Caster for sponsoring us. If you like awesome miniatures that are super freaking cool and also really good paints, check out Creature Casters. They are a great company. He also does streaming online and everything on Twitch, and he's just such a great person. Did I miss anybody? No, I think I got everybody. Actually, we did miss people. We want to thank all of our viewers, listeners, and everything else, people that follow us on Twitch, Facebook, all the different platforms and listens to us. We want to thank y'all. It's been really cool to see people message on certain things. Like I saw someone who was talking to John Templeton was talking to John about his models on Star Wars. We like to see feedback. We like to hear people talk about stuff. So thanks for that. John, do we have any shout outs that we need to give?
I mean, not that most people are going to get, but legendary Redskins coach Joe Bugle, who supervised the Hogs way back in the day, just passed. So that's close to me for let's call them the Washington football team, and hopefully they'll change their name soon. But he did just pass this weekend.
Captain Mizzy sent me Milton Glazer. As a graphic design archon, he designed the I Love New York logo, some logos for DC Comics, a bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know him, but she's a graphic design artist, so this is something that was very important. He passed away the 26th. So he did a lot. He got a bunch of media awards and such, but I guess he was very important in graphic design work. Don't know him very well. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there is.
This last week, Kathy had a good friend of hers pass away. And was pretty personal to her. So we'll give a shout out to him. I also had one of my dogs pass away. So I'll give a shout out to Tucker if you saw him on my Facebook page. He was a pretty strong dog. He was 15 years old. He was the one that I've talked about that had a stroke on air. And so it was just time. So this has been a pretty rough week for us. So we're just going to do a simple hobby day, hang out, paint, talk about stupid shit. Try not to talk about food too much, but John made sure he had a snack this time. Type thing. Other than that, I'm sure, Kathy, you're drinking a gin and tonic tonight?
Yep.
John? Dr. Pepper and something.
Okay, anyone else want to guess?
Kraken.
I mean, you're 50% right.
Dr Pepper and
It's orange juice and Kraken. It's a force blow.
oh, orange juice and Kraken.
Kraken?
Oh yeah.
I think I would rather drink the Captain's wafers with sour cream.
You would not, because this tastes like an orange Julius.
All right, Captain Busy. That's another going to try. Orange juice and Kraken.
It's good.
All right, Captain Busy sets that one up for us. Today I am drinking red wine that has been aged in bourbon barrels. A Cabernet Sauvignon aged in bourbon barrels. I had it before. Yeah, I had to. I opened it up this last week, so I'm like, oh, I need to finish it before it gets bad and everything. What is the mix on that, Legionnaire? Is asking
What's
you.
mix on that? Just fucking eyeball it. That's how I'm fucking eyeball it.
If you can see straight in 30 minutes, it's not mixed enough.
Literally, I would just put the Kraken in a good bit. I also drink large drinks, so mix wouldn't help you too much. Put the orange juice in, leave some space, take a sip. If it's a little heavy, put some orange juice in.
So, mix to taste?
Mix the taste. You want it just at the edge. You're like, okay, I can't entirely taste that there's alcohol anymore. That's the perfect spot. Just enough you're like, I know there's alcohol in here. I can taste a little bit, but not enough to detract. Yeah, it's his mixing rules too. That's just the way I am.
So, guys, for all the people that we've missed, all the people that are out there, to all of our friends, all of our family, please look after each other. Please check on each other, and let's have a good stream. Cheers.
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 Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, this one's a bit light, but I was almost at a Kraken, so it'll
All
be
right.
fine.
So let me switch over. I didn't get to finish up.
I actually liked it a little bigger. It actually worked pretty well. I mean, you're covering Kathy's wonderful hands, but you can still see what she was painting. Because she's really good at keeping what she's painting in the center of the screen. She's like a professional. Almost like she does this 5 days a week or shit.
I have an arrow drawn on my table that says where my hand should be.
Shh! Don't pull back the curtain.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Crimson says he can't hear you, Gonzo. Can anyone else hear Gonzo? I imagine after all this time, we had to have people hearing Gonzo. Oh, okay. Which when you change the cameras?
Didn't that happen last time?
Oy vey.
It's changed.
Actually, not really an oy vey. Or Mike Oigavolt.
Both.
I don't know a lot of Yiddish, but I'll try and use the little Yiddish I know in proper. He's working on it. Ooh. The funny thing about my drinks, Kathy,
Here
I
you
was
go.
drinking
How about
Dr.
now?
Pepper straight beforehand. Oh, let's see. That's too many Gonzo faces. We got upside down Gonzo. We got right side up Gonzo. We got Gonzo's painting. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this one. This was before we fixed it. Fixed it over from the Skype thing. So let me get rid of that and put this over here. And then move Kathy around because she's the boss.
Like a boss.
Actually, let me do this. We're going to play around with this screen for a minute. Kathy and I usually don't paint at the same times because she's usually just chilling.
I'm
Alright, let me
painting,
see.
I guess.
Yeah.
They have arranging cameras live on stream. Yay!
I'm going to zoom this in. That way you can get a better look of the model that I'm painting.
It's white.
It is white now.
Oh
Primed
yeah,
successfully.
it's always white's always crazy with the camera.
Yeah, it sucks. So, properties. I'm going to zoom that out just a little bit.
Engineer says he has his airbrush, but he can't make himself use it again because he doesn't want to clean it.
I know that feeling.
You know, if you just run the cleaner through it after you use it every time,
There we go.
just run the cleaner through it. You don't have to take it apart and everything.
Yeah, eventually I'll set up airbrush for myself in Banyan, but that's not yet.
Oh, I know what I did wrong.
Today is not that day. I'll be honest, 2020 might not be the year for that. I mean, I totally can.
Yeah, and you're not talking to me, so
I mean, based on how trolly is in this video game, I feel like I had to be just as trolly back here. Good lord.
right? Totally trolly.
Yeah, you're super trolly.
Way back weeks ago, when Gonzo printed
I
those.
appreciate the inclusion, but they're throwing that Wii around pretty loosely. I'm pretty sure you made them. As much as I'd like to claim credit, I didn't really do anything. Do a quick wash or like gray or something. Foundation or not foundation paint. God, brain not working.
Unless you have foundation paint.
I mean, I do have foundation paint still,
I
but
also have foundation paint.
they're not that good because those bottles are mediocre. But some of them are okay.
I mean, there shouldn't be once they're primed and everything.
Gonzo, they can't hear you again. Oh, again, your camera switched back to the upside down one too, which is funny.
That's odd.
Here, I'll put it behind. How about that? Can you hear me now?
Hopefully, they can hear you now.
Hopefully.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So, yay, back on stream. So the consistency of the print seemed to be the same. I don't see any obvious flaws in the different materials between the gray and the green. The green is, I have to check them on the bottom just to make sure because I left a little bit of green so I could tell the difference in case. The one on the top is the green, and you got a little bit of flexibility, but not enough. I mean, if I push this the whole way, it'll of course snap. But it's got a little bit of flexibility, and then this one, I can push it, and it's got about the same flexibility. A little bit more, though. I would say it's a little bit more flexible than the other one, but not by much.
What about the details, like the surface? You know, like the weird little line stuff that you get with 3D printing.
Yeah, like here's the little line. You can barely see it. I don't even know if y'all can see it even on the screen because it's so hard to see.
I mean, no, not really.
Yeah, you really can't. Even like with my glasses on, let me put these little weird specks. The lines are about the same. I would say maybe the gray is a little bit more defined, but that could be the primer because it could have filled it in.
True. It's not exactly scientific, but
yeah. So I mean, it's not like
similar.
looks similar enough. I'm not seeing a major like, oh, the gray is 10 times better than the other one, but it looks okay to me. I'm not seeing any major differences. I will be restructuring all my 3D printers this week. Same potting on the back, from popping the prints off. Because I popped them instead of cut them because I wanted to see how that does on this stuff. So, not seeing any major issues. Not seeing any glaring, green's better than gray type thing. So, we'll have to see. Play around with some more. I've got a few things I need to print. I've got a couple of those nun chibis over on the printer right now that I need to get done. So, all right. So, I got this one primed and white highlighted, which you cannot see on the screen at all because it's all white washed out. And we were talking about what color to do the goblins. Now, the faces and skin, we're going to do with contrast warp lightning, I think, is what we're going to try to use. Because it's a really, really bright green and should go really good with this white. We'll test it out a little bit before we do anything, but
I haven't tried it over straight white yet. I put mine over another green, and I think it did what I wanted. That's what the Hulk is. Where's the Hulk? I moved the Hulk. Did the Hulk move?
Which I still have a Hulk to give to Kathy, but I'm going to be sending something to Jim also. So
There's the Hulk. It's not easy to tell because I don't have a lot of light in here because it makes it super hot because it's summer. But I did that on him. Also, you can check out online for my pictures of that particular Hobby Streak group where I started using the warp lightning. But I think it came out very well over the green I used.
So, green, we've tested out on the... It's going to be really... It might be a little too dark, but we'll have to see. We'll test it out. Kathy, what base is that for, by the way?
This is the base for my Artisan Guild. I call her my anglerfish lady, and I refer to her as her because anglerfish ladies have that face, they're the ones that have the lure and the great big jaw and everything. And
so I was wondering what that was in the background when we were streaming earlier today.
That's a lady. Yeah, so this is...
It actually looks like a statue right now. It's really cool.
All I did was I primed it a dark grayish color, sort of a dark gray blue to start out with, and then I did a dry brush of sort of a medium gray. This is the Secret Weapon Rubber Highlight, just sort of a medium gray. And then I mixed up this color, which is just, well, you almost can't see it because it's a light color and cameras don't like the light colors, but it's pretty much this verdigris, Vallejo verdigris, which is an off-white greenish color. That was my lightest color, and I just dry brushed those on. That's I call it my half-faz zenithal, and it just gives you a little hint of your values. I don't have the darkest dark on here, but that's fine. But I know where everything is. I know where all the details are now.
I actually suggest doing just the, if you prime black, just doing a gray and or a gray and white dry brush real quick, just to bring out the details so you can see where it is. Because sometimes you're looking, you just can tell.
It really does help. I mean, if that's not your thing, that's fine, but it does help bring out the details and the mold lines that you missed.
Yeah. Actually, nowadays, you could probably just do a white and then do a grayish, what is it called? Contrast paint.
Yeah.
Over it.
Yeah, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a super wash, and I think I found that that's one of the better uses for contrast paints is as a super wash. It's good in some cases as a straight up paint, but most of the time I'm using it over something else.
So here she is.
Oh.
on her base.
That's gonna be
It's gonna
super
be
awesome.
it's gonna
I
be
love
so
the
much
statue
fun.
part too.
Yeah, that's from a Cybor base. Cybor, the Polish guy who sculpts a lot of stuff and bases. Like, I mean,
Yep.
stuff by stuff, I mean guys, models, and bases.
And bits. He does bits too, doesn't he?
And bits, yeah.
Yeah.
So he does some amazing stuff. And I just pirated it off of a different base and chucked it into this.
Yeah, I mean that's why I used to buy what I used to buy. Actually, as a funny story, I used to work at Alliance Games Distribution, and they would have a box that sat in the inventory manager's office of models or miniatures and all that had come open. And every month or two, I'd be like, "What do you want for the box?" Because they've already sorted out what it is, already claimed it, and I usually argue them down to a good amount, and I get lots of random shit.
Nice.
The first time was the best. It cost me the most that time because he'd been building up for a while. And then I was just like, what do you want for the box? And he's like, I forget what the amount was nowadays, but argued him down and I got some good stuff out of it. Lots of interesting random stuff. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about mold lines. I'm totally over them having built 40 Plague Marines and Boxwalkers today and yesterday. Yeah, GW's gotten better, but still, every once in a while, you get those kids that are just like, fuck mold lines.
Oh, this guy the Pumpkinhead guy, this one, he was very quick to clean. There were very few mold lines on this. It helped that he didn't have a head and I had to sculpt it. And that was the story.
You made the head.
I made the head because so the parts of this were in a little Ziploc, and I don't even remember where this came from. It's possible my friend in Alaska sent the model with a care package. But I was I'm looking, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not actually a head on the top of it, and there is no head bit here, so I guess we're going to have to improvise.
That conversion time. Hell yeah.
That is what I'm talking about when I say to my chat when I'm streaming, well, I guess we're improvising. I don't know what I'm going to do. And somebody in the chat goes, you should totally make a pumpkin head, like a jack-o'-lantern. And I'm like, okay.
But I'm big on converting whenever I can. I mean, I'm just working on this Rebel Technical, and so far, head swap on the driver, head swap on one of the gunners, and maybe torso swap or head swap on the other gunner, just to make it look different than the other one. I don't. My buddy Frank used to always make all of his models look different.
That's what I always like to do too.
You would have a problem with today's 40K because the model kits aren't quite as multi-part as they used to be.
You just have to work a little harder to make it happen.
But it's not as inherently easy to do. Mm-hmm. You love my nickname? Well, I mean, it's a Rebel Technical. I mean, it's like a pickup truck they have guns on. But yeah, so he always did that, and I mean, I try to do it where I can. I actually wish I'd started to get another box or two of Rebel Troopers, like the basic ones, so I can do some head swaps on them. Because all my ones have pretty much standard. I've got a couple without standard heads, but I want to do some more head swaps. I hope somebody makes alien Star Wars heads and puts the big, long, ovalish shaped Fleet Trooper helmet on them, because that would be awesome. And I have a whole squad of alien Fleet Troopers, but they don't have a helmet on because I couldn't do that. But I would love to, because that would be super awesome. Like the whole 9 yards, the head and all that. I actually have one. I want to get like a Mon Calamari with that big helmet on too. I think it'd be super.
Yeah.
Use him as like the captain.
Well, if you find it and you need it printed, let me know.
Yeah, I gotta look. I mean, I'm gonna show you guys these. For one of my Rebel laser cannons, I have actually this is two of the same guy. If I can help me with it. My buddy Marshall, I bought the kit and printed alternate crew for them. A little hard to see in white, of course, but He's got pointing, he's got the thing, and these are pretty solid quality, and all I got is got to attach them to the gun. I mean, the gun's assembled. It is right here, but I haven't put the guys on it yet. Legionnaires, I'll keep an eye out for squad leaders, but that actually isn't as big of a problem anymore with the upgrade kit that's got the 2 new special weapons, and then also has the Rebel Trooper Captain and the Rebel Trooper Specialist, because the Captain would technically sort of replace your leader, so you could do that. It wouldn't be as big of a deal then, but I'll see what I can find. I know after a lot of conversions and stuff, I have extra. It's me and I've got an extra. I had an extra Z6 trooper I just cut in half to see if I want to put him on the speeder as the gunner, and I might. I think it'd be cool to have a guy with a laser minigun leaning off the side, sort of firing at people as they go by. I think that's apropos. We'll see, but I like little conversions like that. Actually, whatever. Like if I do have one more knight to assemble, if I ever do another Imperial Knight, I'll probably go online and find one of those extra bits and all just to make it look cooler. After a certain point, you don't need to. You don't need to be doing the same stock stuff again and again. You want to do a little something, a little change.
Well, especially for the Rebels, because the Rebels, I mean, it kind of fits the attitude and the look. They're not going to be regimental looking. They're not supposed to be.
No, and you can have squads here or there that have their full uniform and everything. Like, oh, cool, it's like they still got their full uniforms. But you need to be careful. You can't make them too crazy, because the Rebel Pathfinders are basically like a hodgepodge of Rebel troopers all together. That's how they made those models. So that's a little problem. I also need to pick up Cassian Andor and K2SO. I think they've actually released, since I've seen people painting them up everywhere, and I need to get mine. Because, I mean, you gotta have K2SO and Cassian. But we'll see. I mean, Legion, I just grabbed... I did not want to start painting again because it was hot this week, and I didn't want to clean everything up. I mean, I cleaned everything up to do some assembly and all. And I actually cleaned everything up to put a monitor up that didn't fit, but now I kept it clean, did some assembly, and I got this to assemble, and I think I'm either stretching for Malifaux stuff or another Imperial Knight, or I'm going to go back to painting. Probably go back to painting. Probably easier that way. Just because it's easier to have it all in one spot. I could clean off the other half of my desk, but that requires cleaning, and it's not going to happen right now. Cannot say I've been enticed to cleaning a lot. But yeah, I do like doing a little bit of changes. I couldn't do too much on the second airspeeder I got because, I mean, there's only so much. Luckily, it has the flaps open and the flaps down. I think it did the second one with the flaps open, just to make it look a little different. I did a little bit of work on some of the walkers, the AT-RTs, just so they all sort of look different too. It's a little bit of stuff like that, a little bit, a $10, $15, $20 for a pack of heads on Shapeways could go a long way in a lot of troops to making them more interesting. Or there'd be like an Imperial Guard squad that suddenly's got different helmets just to make them stand out because they're the elite, because you want them to be the elite, or, Rebel troopers with different heads because you want some more alien presence, or you just want them to be different. There's all sorts of stuff there you can do. It'll give your army some character real easily. Make it more yours. People are like, oh, cool, you got that. I mean, you guys can talk. You're allowed.
I'm just sitting there looking at this green, and this green, I mean, I know it's kind of hard to see, and, it doesn't always transfer over on video, but it reminds me of Scroll green.
I was just cleaning the nozzle of my my paint.
Ooh.
Because, oh my god, I couldn't even stick the pin down the nozzle. It's
So, Russ,
I don't know what's trapped in this thing.
oh, yeah. So Russ is asking about Pop Goes the Monkey's new site store. I have not ordered from his new site or store, but it looks promising. And he does a lot of good stuff, so I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that.
Pop Goes the Monkey?
Yeah, he does. He did a Shapeways store, and then he just opened up his own store, I guess, so he can do his own stuff rather than doing it all through Shapeways.
Hmm.
He does good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. He's got a lot of stuff that's really cool, and he's a ton of stuff. He's got more choices in most of those places. And honestly, if you guys are into any hobby, Gunpla, collecting Transformers, whatever, you can probably find something for that hobby on Shapeways. There's guys who make weapons for Transformers. You're like, oh, your Transformers don't have enough weapons for display purposes? Well, I got weapons for you. What weapons do you need?
I got weapons for days. I got big weapons, small weapons, regular weapons, lasers, missiles.
I mean, even like I talked about, I think on one of them where they have the website, they've got add-on kits. Like there's an add-on kit. I'll grab this boyo for Impactor here, where it fills in like he's got gaps here and gaps in the back of his legs. It fills in those gaps with just 3D printed plastic. Replaces his gun on his shoulder with a new gun. It does a lot of little stuff like that. They're not too expensive. It's just fans of Transformers or whatever hobby doing stuff to make them look cooler. You know, there's a kit for War for Cybertron Sideswipe here that has his G1 inspired weapons. So the guns look like he has two weapons from G1. There's a ton of stuff out there. It's really cool. Maybe you want your Sideswipe to have swords because damn it, you want Sideswipe with swords. They got that. There's all sorts of kits out there. For whatever you're looking for, I definitely just look on there. Let's see. Go ahead.
Sometimes all you want to do is gouge out the eyeball of somebody and make it look like the eye is hanging out their head by the optic nerve. In which case, just roll up a little ball of green stuff.
Yep, that's what you do.
Easy peasy.
What says, I need a load of weapons for the Chaos Knights I'm going to build, but it gets expensive fast when you need duplicates for 7 Knights. It does, but, I mean, getting the models just right, and this is something you said, getting the models just right is its own reward. And this is sort of how we can take the models. So rather than just doing whatever weapons and like, sure, they're done, then when you paint them, you've got in your head like, yeah, sure, they're done. So you don't do... I don't want to say you don't necessarily do your A game, but it's hard to put your everything into them because they're not exactly how you wanted them. You know, I said with my knight over here, he's secondhand. The back of his one gun is missing bits and all, so I may not have put my AAA game into him. I'm not displeased with how he looks, but it's not like as good as he could be. But when you get a model that's all right and everything's just there, you converted everything, you added all the extra bits, man, when it comes painting time, you put everything into that model. You put your 100% A game in because, damn it, it's perfect. It's exactly how you want it. It's like the Rebel Technicals here. Like when I paint the other one that's built stock, well, I'm sure I'll paint it fine. But when I paint this one, I'm going to take care, do everything good because I put everything into this. It's somewhat, it's mental. It's it's psychological. It's deep in there, and not everyone's affected by it the same way, but you'll find you are a little bit. I think it's worth, especially if you really like the army, how it looks or whatever, just go all in for it. We don't need to have, I would rather make one army look super cool than buy a new army for something. You know, like if you say like, oh, John, you can add a new army for Age of Sigmar, or, the Cow Elves that just came out. I don't know what their actual name are, but they'll be Cow Elves forever. Or you can spend a ton of money on little add-ons and all for Troggoths or something else you already own. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm getting the add-ons because that's going to make them look cool. It's going to make that one army next level. Hell, I bought, hold on one second. I'm going to wander away from the microphone. Luckily, I'm still within earshot. I bought this model on Forge World just to go with my Troggoths because I wanted to go all in on it, Is what it is. You can stay here for now. I'm not going to walk back over there.
Which I believe I saw news that there are new Blood Bowl teams coming out, by the way.
That's possible.
I think I just saw that today. The news came out on that today.
Oh, yeah. So the rest says he's thinking about getting some Legio kits to customize the Chaos Knights. Like, especially a model like a Chaos Knight. I actually thought you meant Chaos Knights on horse, but now I realize you mean Knights.
Do they call them Chaos Knights on horse? They don't call them Marauder Horsemen, or are Marauder Horsemen still a thing?
I think Marauder Horsemen are still a thing, but they're different than Chaos Knights. Because Chaos Knights are always the armored, Marauder Horsemen are always
Right. They're light armor.
light armor.
Light and fast.
They're wearing nothing. If you count straps across their chest with a little belt buckle that's giant in the center as armor, sure, light armor.
Speaking of converting Marauder Horsemen and then bringing your A-level game, those are the thing that I did for the next Games Day Chicago, the one that didn't happen because they, stopped doing it.
Yeah. Well,
and they're in a box still. They have not seen the light of day.
it happens, but
I converted the hell out of those things. They're done.
And it's super fun. And I know it seems expensive, but you take your time, you do it all right, you do that puttying if you need to putty a gap or something, that next level. You do everything next level when you're doing something like that. It's its own sort of sub-genre of the hobby that's super fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I can take and I can put together, Stormcast and just spray them and do, hey, they look fine, cool, awesome. They'll look fine. But, if you take your time and you really love the models and you've done stuff to them, you're gonna take your time with them. You make them look good. Like, this knight, secondhand knight, he looks fine. The ones I'm really painting on, though, that, ones I really did some work on might become, I'll do a sort of next level job on them. And Kathy's camera finally decided to start going nutty.
God damn it.
It's not your fault. Not your fault.
Yeah, it's just streaming.
Well, remember,
It'll come back.
Skype is not long for this world in a fashion that's going to be super good. Because they're pushing everyone to Microsoft Teams, so. It's just the way they are. So, like, the Kathy's putting way more. See, now here's the perfect example of the next level is that base. She put everything in that base, and she's putting all the detail into that. She's like 4 highlights past where I would have gone with most of my bases.
I mean, it could have been done with just I did this, sort of dry brushing.
Mm-hmm.
I could have just done a brown wash, and that would have been okay,
Yeah, but this one okay? No.
I want a variation of colors on this from cool to warm. Now I took a little bit of my favorite, the Purple Heat, and mixed that in with my yellow. So I have a little bit more of a sort of pinky orange in a few places. And so it's kind of a mottled effect. It's not just tan. I could have just dry brushed tan also.
It looks real is what it does. It looks like real, real seascape.
So that's...
And that's cool. I mean, it's just,
hoping for.
If you remember my night base, I painted that for like weeks. Half an hour a day or so. I painted that for like weeks and weeks. And it was funny. It's going to go for the night here that isn't 100% because it's missing some parts because it was secondhand. I didn't notice, so I started painting on it, which kind of points to how much I was paying attention.
Kind of like my pumpkin head.
Yeah, well.
You just have to improvise.
I didn't notice that all the back parts to the Melta here were missing until I really started going. I'm like, oh, he's missing all of that. And honestly, that's something I could probably find a bit to go over. I just have to look for it. This is the perfect example. Like, and it's a little tough to be doing it after you started painting, but like little techie bits that go there would look perfect. It doesn't have to be the best. Just like here's a techie bit, here's a techie bit. You just cover up all the gaps with techie bits. And I'm sure I'll do that at some point when I get back to him.
We'll see. The chaos. Anything that's chaos. If you're missing something, just put spikes all over it. It'll work.
Spikes and skulls, yeah. I mean, absolutely. But there we go. Boom. But yeah, it's one of that thing. I mean, we could talk forever about conversions. You don't throw nothing out. I mean, I've gotten past the hashtag bits box so much, but I used to literally have boxes of bits, and people go through it like, you have like a whole Forge World kit in here. I'm like, yep, I do. I mean, hell, when I sent stuff to my buddy to sell stuff on eBay, I literally had an unreleased Forge World kit in that. Like, literally, they made up the test of it. decided they didn't want to go that way, gave it to the guy who sculpted it, who was a friend of mine. He gave it to me because one of you guys at work who was nice to him. And so I had an unreleased kit for Forge World.
That's cool.
I wasn't going to use it at that point. I might have now, but hindsight's 2020. And 2020 is a bitch. So, Russ says, never done a custom base before. I've done the usual GW skulls and sand on a plastic base, but I want to do proper custom bases for my Death Guard. I bought 2 thickness of cork and 3 or 4 gravels, rocks, etc. Do you have any advice on how to go about building them? Oh, I mean, just go at it. Your first ones aren't going to be great, but you're going to quickly learn how to use the materials. PVA glue is your friend.
Oh, Russ, last week was all base building.
Uh-oh.
All week. Last week. Wait, what day is it?
It's
the week before last. Yeah, and that's what we were doing. We were doing cork, and I don't know what kind of cork you have, if it's a fine texture, or if it's a more coarse, thick textured cork. Either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can
of them, so
you just break it. You can break it into pieces with your fingers.
Yep.
Because you just don't want that the straight edge.
No.
The straight edge of the cork to be anywhere on the base. You want it to look more organic. And then to disguise the fact that it's a piece of cork, you can take your various... I imagine you have different scales of gravel and sand. You know, like I have gravel... hold on, I put it away. Oh, it's over here. Let me just, excuse me while I whip this out. I have sand, and Russ, this is what happened. I took the end of my brush, and I, see how fine this sand is. I also do have a few pieces of ballast and gravel in here, because this is the thing I shake my bases out in. But so I have the fine sand. I have
and damn, is it fine?
A medium ballast.
Oh, not drinking my wine. Y'all supposed to remind me to drink my wine.
Like, drink your wine. So this is, you can see that this is a more coarse sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's kind of like coffee grounds. And then I have the gravel, which is, of course, just a little more coarse than that. And I'll start out by putting the gravel, a few pieces of the gravel, onto a base, because you want a little variety. You don't want to just have a whole bunch of the same thing. I've even used tiny bits of cork. Like, I'll save, just like you save bits, I save pieces of cork. So you could see I have a couple of different types of cork in here.
I have a Tupperware container just like that, Gabby.
Yeah, all these tiny pieces of cork can make some interesting texture on bases.
Mm-hmm.
They are VOD still. It was only a couple weeks ago, so they should still be on the Twitch channel.
So, I'm currently showing off Break Iron the Giant here.
Oh yeah.
And you see I did cork, I just ripped it, moved it around. It's very irregular all the way around the base. And then if you could look at the top and trying to get some pictures, you can see I took divots out here or there. And then just to give it some more texture. And then when I paint it, you can either do sand or gravel on it, but that's a little weird. Some of the GW texture paints are really good at going over this. But make sure you seal it with PVA glue first, because otherwise it's going to absorb all the water and it's going to get really weird. So you can do all sorts of stuff like this. All my Troggoths, with the exception of the Hag, who's down here, because she's got a forge roll base, have cork bases because, damn it, they're super cool. I mean, I guess Mollog technically doesn't because he's got an own sculpted base, but I did that for all of them. Little stuff like that goes a long way. And then I've got packs of resin mushrooms to put on the bases because people make those. And, just to keep the theme alive for the whole thing. So there you go. I mean, it's really not hard to work with. It's just a matter of just start doing it. And Get your least important squad first and work on their bases first, because you're going to have some trial and error and all on it. And then after you get done, you'll be able to move on to the models you care about more, because you'll have more skill and understanding of the stuff then. And then you can go to those and make those super awesome.
So this base on the Noxious Lightbringer, one of those VODs should be just this base, because it took me a whole session to make this one. And this is cork, and the top part is Sculpey that was flattened out, and then I went over it with Green Stuff World Texture Roller.
Which are super cool.
Yeah, and that I just put that flat piece of Sculpey on top of my cork, and then I have some skulls. I have the skull here. I have a couple skulls over here from the Skull Sprue, and I did gravel. I did medium ballast. I did sand, and I rolled out some green stuff into tentacles.
Yep. And I will also suggest the Games Workshop's. I have a Grelin Earth and a Grelin Badlands. Now, you can paint over this stuff. It's inherently brown, and I think they don't intend you to paint over it, but you can. And it's the crackly sort of stuff, so you get that crackle texture, which I use on top of the cork for my guys. And then I also suggest certain things. I have the Astro Granite Debris, which is like it's like gravel mixed with paint that you apply to the base. I do it on a lot of my, what are they called? Marvel Crisis Protocol models, when they've got tactical debris already on them. Why did I change my camera back? Apparently I need to go back. Because it helps bring it into the base so it doesn't look as off-putting. It'll help. It's good around the edge. It looks like there's debris and stuff there.
I've never tried the crackle stuff. I've been meaning to.
I've tried it. It's actually pretty good, but you have to put it on kind of thick.
I've heard that.
So
this is what I did to get my sand texture on the top of my cork, because I agree with you, John, that the top of the cork, you don't want the obvious cork texture. What I did is I took a crappy paintbrush and I just brushed on some of this Elmer's Glue All, PVA glue, and then I just dipped the base in my sand, and let that sand soak into that, and boom, texture.
Thanks, Captain Busy. You should put the dates up there for him. There's a PVA glue is definitely be your friend, and then here, this I'm gonna try and get as close up as I can on this, since I'm a little guy in the corner. Around the edges of this here are all the Astro Granite debris, and then painted afterwards to look like, there's actually debris, not just suddenly there's a stark. I can't. Trying to get it there. Just a stark change between this broken wall and then fresh concrete around it. It's all this stuff together adds a lot of good details, and I put some on the steps and all. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Take a look at all those tools. I know it sounds expensive, but most of those you will only buy once, or maybe once in a great while. So it actually ends up being pretty good, because they stay in there. And the newest GW bottles are really good at not drying out, so you don't need to worry about that.
And regarding the cork, so we're jumping around a little. Regarding the cork, you can see these two bases. I used one layer of cork on the one guy, and this guy is taller because I put 2 layers of cork on it. And that can also make it a little more interesting, having 2 layers. And if you have a captain or a sergeant or something in your squad where you want that guy to be more important, maybe his base is a little more special.
Absolutely. And there's so much you can do with just the basic stuff. I mean, you can go to any generic hobby store, and for about $30 come away with so much stuff. But it sounds like you got most of what you need. I mean, I've got like 4 or 5 different types of gravel. I had a gift card to the worst of the hobby places, but it was a gift card, so I used it. and came away with all sorts of stuff like that, and like different types of gravel and sand and everything. It just happened.
Vallejo does some fantastic texture pastes, like the oxide paste.
Oh,
And
yeah, and
the one I used on this was the earth texture, I think it's called, which is brown one. So technically, you wouldn't have to paint it if you didn't really feel like it, but I did. But you don't have to.
and so right here, even I've got 2 different types of sand or gravel in Tupperware containers just for basing. Also, I have I bought like 47 of those old Cities of Death basing kits way back when from GW. I got cork right here ready to go. And actually, when I started using, this is it. That's it. I'm going to show off the stuff I was using for my bases for a while there, but I don't know where I put it because it's been a while since I've had the base anything. I think it's up here. It is
Yeah,
not.
it's funny, the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff doesn't take a whole lot of basing energy.
No, it does not.
You don't have to do anything.
Well, no, I think you need to do something because the tactical debris is a thing.
You don't have to, but I have seen some people go crazy fun
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
bases, like especially for the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man especially, yeah. But well, I've got some somewhere. I've got some pumice that is, you basically like a paste you put on the base to give yourself.
Yeah, that's what Russ was saying too. He has the Vallejo pumice stuff.
Yeah, I use a bunch of this. Don't know where I put it because I haven't had a base in a while. I'm gonna need to find it eventually. I feel kind of bad that I can't find it actually. I feel kind of like a dummy head. I should have it somewhere easy to find, but it's not. Anyways. How do you make the cork interesting? Actually, I break it by hand, like Captain Mizzy said. I take the cork and I'll just break it by hand.
I just use my fingers, or I will use one of my. I have a little needle nose pliers if it's really strong cork.
Yeah, you can cut it a bit, but you're going to want to rough it up afterwards just to make. I try everything to make it not look
like you cut it.
Like I cut it, not look bland.
The thing with cork is it has that inherent texture, and if you try and cut it with a knife, it cuts through that texture and flattens it out.
Yes. So you definitely want to break it, or do. I'll do some clipper chipping, around just in random ways. But the breaking it first is generally the best.
Well, you really can't see that yellow, because that yellow is stupid bright.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's getting washed out a bunch, but I can see that it's very yellow. So you want to split, not the quartered?
I went to split.
Okay.
I just went to figure to do the split, because, all I did was just put it on. I was using those, I was showing them as I was using the Vallejo airbrush color, which is that fluorescent thing Kathy was telling me. You should use that for your lava. And it actually kind of works just like the contrast paints. I think I'm going to take one of the contrast purples and go over the purple, and then take the contrast yellow and go over the yellow, just so we can get in the cracks deeper, because that yellow is really, really... It's so neon that it kind of... You get no texture out of it because there's no darkness in the seepage, if you know what I'm saying. No matter how much you put on there, it's still bright yellow.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's fluorescent.
Correct. And I think I'm going to take the contrast yellow and go over it after it dries.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think
that way it'll give it a pop.
Yeah, but you might need a dry brush afterwards to get the tone
Correct,
back.
Yeah.
It's going to really stain that tone to its variety of yellow.
Yeah, it'll probably, after get done with it, that way it gives in the cracks and gives the ridges and such, go back with that yellow and kind of highlight up the ridges and such.
Yeah, Russ, take pliers if you need to, but just take your pliers and twist the cork so it still breaks.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Instead of cutting.
And also use the edge of your table or desk. That'll help too. You can put a lot of force on it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, what has Captain Mizzy got for us now? Oh yeah, some good rocks on there.
Yep.
Rocks on.
Rocks off.
I don't know. I have to go look. Oh yeah.
I was making a wax on joke. Sorry.
I think it was.
I heard.
That's what she did at
Wait, I mean, John.
one of the classes she took at Warfare Weekend.
Hmm.
I think that's one she took with Lynn.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier. Super cool.
There.
So now I'm just throwing some green into some of the rocky areas here.
Get that sort of grime going.
It's, you know what? It's like a seaweed.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so, and also it will contrast with some of the more orangey.
You know what's funny,
colors.
Kathy? Seeing you painting that, one of my memories came up on Facebook, and it was your picture of the shark that you, or the crab Tyrannosaurus Rex that you did, of saying, "Hey, here's a memory from almost 2 years ago," or whatever.
Yeah.
Of Kathy, you know, because you joined the podcast, and it was a
Pinchy.
picture of that. Yeah, Pinchy. It was the Tyrannosaurus Rex crab, and I was like, "Man, has it been that long already?"
Wouldn't that be a
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
It was Scorpion Rex, I think is what it is. It's like a scorpion, T-Rex. So it's got the
Let's make it
tail.
Scorposaurus Rex.
It's just Scorpion Rex, I think, is originally what it's called. It was Clint
Terrible name.
McLean, a sculptor, did a Kickstarter years ago, and somebody got these sculpts from him, and it was a commission.
Look
And
at
then,
it.
so I did the Monktopus, which was a gorilla octopus hybrid, and the Scorpion Rex, and somewhere is the Sharktopede.
Nightmare Fuel. But come on, we got to punch up these animal combinations. As someone who ran a game with a guy who had to choose different animals to get his stats from when he transformed, we came up with lots of combination names. He would get certain favorites, and we'd try to add them together. Because he'd love to do like, Rhinoceros for the horn, because he's going to run into things. Cheetah to be fast. And then he always went for some sort of dinosaur for some armor and for some strength. So we'd get, Rhychetosaurus Rex. We'd add Rex to everything because it made it better. Because it does.
I was trying to
Pine
find it.
bark. Use all the things. Use all the things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
have a
mean,
friend in the south who sends me sends us pine bark.
And I assume you dry it out and then you put it on there?
Yes, I guess. I mean, it was never moist. I think it's just deadfall that he finds, so it's already dry.
I would say you would want to make sure it's dry and then put it on there. And then often, like I mentioned before, you're probably PVA glue. I don't know if you PVA glued that at all, or did you?
No,
Oh, okay.
I just once I primed it. I mean, yeah, the primer does soak into it, but it's still primed.
Yeah.
I mean, it soaks in, but it also stays on the surface, so it takes
sort
the
of-
heat just fine.
Yeah, the cork really, I think, and I may be wrong, you have a little more experience with it, but I think the cork really needs the PVA glue layer over it. Just otherwise, I find it gets too absorby and it doesn't paint well.
And I haven't really found that, but then like you were saying, I cover the top part of it,
Yeah.
with
Well, I just take
PVA
a-
glue and sand, just so that I have a sandy dirt texture, or I just glue the sheet of Sculpey on it with the texture on the top.
Yeah, well, I've gotten good experience, and this is with most of my bases. After I'm done basing, if it's not something super sticky and stable, I will take PVA glue, water it down to about milk or melted ice cream, and I'll just do a sort of a wash over the whole thing just to give it a coat to help.
Seems like a good idea.
May not be necessary, but it works for me.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what time it is?
is it already that time?
Is it the media section?
It is.
Diddle-doo, diddle-doo, diddle-doo. Media section. So, like,
So
ID?
definitely, I gotta, oh, and guess what? I started bringing out my wet palette again.
Hey.
I should probably do that too. I'm too lazy.
I've gotta.
Also, I'm not sure I have the easy space for it. I have to.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm having is the space for it. I'm gonna have to like rearrange some.
And to be fair, when you
Stuff.
take the 100 paints off your desk and put them in a box, it frees up a lot of space.
No, I'm talking about
God, you
just.
have 100 paints?
I mean, probably.
Hold on.
How many
Yeah.
you figure in this box?
That's hilarious.
Let's
And then
see.
all the other ones that I could easily sort, like the metallics and such, that went into the appropriate drawer of my container here. But since I was in the middle of painting stuff, I didn't put them all away because I want the easy access. And I'm like, what paint did I use? It's got to be one of these. Yeah, you get racks and stuff. I got space for all that shit. Actually, I was talking about my box. I was actually really talking about my box. Because if you saw any of my old Hobby Street pictures, there were paints everywhere. And now it's got a lot more. I mean, we have a lot more space. We didn't put a bunch of models here recently, but hey. Hey, no problem, Russ. That's why we're here.
Oh yeah, I could talk all day about bases. If you're ever in my stream, we can talk about bases all you want.
Media section. And I'm gonna drink some more wine. Look at my camera's all like jacked up now.
I mean, shit happens.
Let me have to turn it off and turn it back on.
So tech support 101.
Yep. Turn the camera off, turn it back on.
Anything. Turn anything off, turn it back on again.
Ooh, camera's on.
I worked with my TV yesterday. I went to go to the Netflix, and my TV said, "Are you sure that the Wi-Fi is working?" I'm like, dude, I was just watching something on Amazon Prime. So I turned the TV off. I turned it back on. It was fine.
Yep.
It's fine.
This is why I believe that robots could never take over the world.
Because they can't turn
Because
themselves
you
off
would
and
have
back
to
on.
turn them off.
Because they would not know how to do it. They'd be like, we are not work. Oh, that one's done. Or go crazy. So I do get worried about some of them, but hey, robots.
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 Robot aliens.
I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to talk about, but all of them are TV shows except for one.
I have things.
All
I
the
have
things.
a movie. I have a TV show. I have a music album, and I watched more episodes of Norseman.
I had that. I saw my text today about that. I was like, oh, I need to watch. Damn it. It's Sunday. I don't have time for that.
I mean, I watched a movie today.
A movie?
Yeah.
I'm guessing Mech Warrior's taking up a lot of your time now.
Well, I kind of did yard work for 9.5 hours yesterday.
Aww,
And I kind of go to the office every day and still have to work.
like
Well,
a
let's
real
see,
person
9
with a
hours.
job.
A real
Just
person
saying.
with a job.
Not always going to happen that way. I mean, video games keep me sane, so
Yep.
video game it is.
So it did with me too.
Plus, like I said, I made a horrible miscalculation by deciding to watch all of the Star Wars in order for the other podcast, because
Yeah.
when I sit down for dinner, I'm like, and I guess I'm watching an episode of Clone Wars.
Ugh,
Then I lose the will to live and don't watch anything else.
understandable.
I mean, not entirely. I mean, it's getting better, but it's still not great.
I'll go with one of them, and I'll go with Knives Out as last. That way we can all talk about it and get everything going on it. 'Cause we may go off on that one. So this is the last season, and it's the series finale of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which if everybody's watching...
Spoilers. I will reach to the computer.
Um,
That was what I was
and,
watching before all this, you remember. I watched season 1 again not that long ago.
yeah.
Feels like it was long ago, but it was this year.
But this is the last season. It's a 13-episode season and series. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's jumped the shark, but it's definitely jumped. It has definitely gone way out in the left field. But it's okay. They're trying to wrap up the story. They've got some pretty interesting things going on.
This is all just a prelude for them to make something for Disney for it if they want to.
Yeah. But I'm not worried. But it's still been good. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty. This is going over the top. Don't give a damn. Right now I just don't care. It's been good. It's fun. It's got great lines. The characters are still there.
So it didn't really jump the shark thing, because jumping the shark also generally denotes a lowering of quality.
Okay, well, definitely not the lower quality, but definitely jumping the storyline. How about that?
How would we say it went off the rails?
Okay, it's going off the rails. That's a better one.
There we
Because that one is going. I still really like it. I like the characters. I like what they're doing. I like what's happening. Everything seems to be really good. It's just you're just like, okay. Next episode they're gonna go, okay. All right, as long as you give me a conclusion, I don't care.
I look forward to rewatching more of it. Like I said, I rewatched season 1 earlier this year. I enjoyed the crap out of it. I just feel like season 1 felt rushed at points.
It goes really, really off. I think the last 3 seasons, it kind of goes into the weird genre.
I think I've seen through season 2, maybe 3. Yeah, I don't remember when Creekins and I stopped watching it. About the time we didn't have cable. That would be it. Because when I moved in with her, we did not have cable. We only had... she used to come over to my place on, Tuesday nights or whatever night it was on, and we'd watch that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been good so far. I'll give a full review and a rating after the series is completely over.
Cool.
Give it for the season and then for the series. But, I mean, I like it still. It's still good. Still got me going.
Good.
So...
It's rare that a series gets to go out on its own like that. They don't always get the choice.
Correct.
I mean, hell, I hear they're ending NCIS. I don't know if they actually got a chance to do the right thing with that or not.
Wait, are they done with it?
But what I heard real quick was that it's ending. I don't know if it's one last season or what. I haven't really checked because I don't watch it live. I haven't watched it in many, many seasons.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. Totally out of the loop with that.
I agree with you, Russ. I feel like season 1 did have the issues with trying to fit those 2 films in. And then I remember the second season, and I don't know if I saw part of the third, maybe part of the third, that felt a lot better because they were doing their own thing, pretty much divorced from everything else. I felt like if they'd done it a year before, it would have been really good, but I don't think they could have really. Marvel wasn't big enough to get it done then. So, but in any case. Kathy, what are you going to talk about first?
So I was looking for something new the other night, and I ran across on Netflix. I don't remember Netflix or Amazon. I think it was Netflix. A Japanese show called Midnight Diner. It was Netflix. Midnight Diner, and but I was telling a friend of mine, they're like, it's a food show. And that was my first thought was, it's a food show, right?
That'd be my first guess.
It's a show that takes place in a diner. Therefore, food is present. And food is a character in this show. But the main thing is that the one guy who runs this tiny little hole-in-the-wall diner, and it opens at midnight, and it stays open until 7 a.m., and it's in Tokyo. And it's the people who come in to eat. And he just talks about the people that he meets and what their lives are like. And it was really sweet. I felt like it was kind of showing how life can be sweet and life can be bittersweet. And they're just these half-hour episodes, and I only watched the first 2. Apparently there's 50 episodes, but I'm going to watch it all because at least I'm going to watch more of it because I loved those first 2. They were like poems.
Awesome. It's not what I would have thought. I mean, because my first guess would have been a food show. My second guess would have been tentacle porn because Japanese.
Yeah.
But that actually does sound interesting because those people would meet all the craziest people.
Yeah, especially being open at that kind of hours. But yeah, I love it. It was zero space herpes, but I'm only 2 episodes in, so who knows?
Looking promising then.
Yeah. So that's my first one, Midnight Diner. It's Japanese. It has subtitles. Well, I have my Netflix set up for subtitles.
I mean,
suppose you could probably get dubbed.
I do subtitles for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I put a movie in the DVD player. I'm like, subtitles on.
Yeah. I don't, but unless there's background noise.
I mean, it's just the way I am. I mean, I blame Creekins for that too. It helps. But I find it helps a lot of movies, so you can hear what's going on or read what's going on sometimes when you can't hear. Maybe your roommate's yabbering at you while you're trying to watch a movie or something or something else. Not a specific example at all. Well, my only entry really this week, unless I start talking about YouTube stuff, I don't really think I saw anything super crazy on YouTube. Was I watched a movie called Premium Rush, which I talked about a little bit before because it has Michael Shannon, who was also in Knives Out in it. It also has Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I love. He is great in just about everything he's been in. And it's basically just a tale of New York City bike messenger who has to deliver something from point A to point B, and how crazy things happen with it, because it's basically, Michael Shannon's a cop who's after him for it, and it's all played out. Sort of out of order, because it starts off in the middle, and then rewinds to follow Joseph Gordon-Levitt till he gets to that point. And then during that, though, it'll rewind when it needs to show the story point. Like, it'll go good chunk of story, then it'll go and follow the other character, how they got to this point. But it only does it with a couple characters to show how they get to the points that are important for the movie. The person who gives him the who's arranging for the package to go from point A to point B, why she needed that and all that. And then it also goes through Michael Shannon and why he's chasing after it, because he's a fucking crazy cop. Because he's crazy. And that's a movie you're like, on the surface, you're like, why are you watching that shit? That movie is good. I'm not going to lie. It's just enjoyable. It goes quickly. Michael Shannon plays batshit crazy very well. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, like I said, always enjoyable. The whole cast does a solid job, even if sometimes there are a bit of characters. But if you're not one of the handful of main characters, you're not getting a lot of time. So you got to do what you can. I love some of the effects they do where he's got this... he rides, he's got a bike, he's got no brakes on it. Because his brakes will kill you. And he shows every time where he can't stop, so he's literally, it shows the view where he's like, I could go this way, and then he goes through that way as a thing and like gets hit by a car or runs over a pedestrian or something until he finds the route that he can take that gets him through. It's sort of like that. It's sort of like a multiple choice version of that Sherlock Holmes vision that they had in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh,
where you
yeah.
say, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
I remember that. I remember that in the movie where it was like, if I do this, I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, I really like that. It's an enjoyable movie. It's not necessarily streaming free. I actually bought it on DVD. It was worth the money. I think it was like $5 or $10 on Amazon when I got it. Check it out for deals. It's one of those ones, if you see it in a bargain basement bin, by all means, buy it. It is enjoyable as crap. I'll give it, I'll give about one space herpy. It's enjoyable. It's a little weird at points, and topically crazy cops who are threatening people and doing stupid shit is a little too topical for me at points, but not really the movie's fault. It's a standard tropes for that, but it is still a little weird nowadays. Well, I enjoy the crap out of it and do recommend it.
I did want to say something because recently there's been talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show about finishing up filming of it, and of course they had to put a little bit on hold because they're filming in Prague, and they might not be able to do it because they're not allowing Americans over because of COVID. But Anthony Mackie said that it feels like a 6-hour-long Marvel movie is what the TV show is doing. He was talking pretty high praise of it, and I guess recently he was on Jimmy Fallon, and they introduced him as Captain America and such, and I thought that was pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to that because I think I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to take Falcon and move him from Falcon to Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Or where the timeline's going to be, because they did show a GIF of him throwing the shield at a tree, and I thought that was kind of neat. But Jimmy Fallon introduced him as Captain America, even though the show is Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm optimistic about it. I want to see where it is and what timeline, and if they actually push him over to Captain America and Winter Soldier. You know what I'm saying?
I hope they do, because one of my main regrets, I have two main regrets of the Marvel movies. One of those is that we didn't get more Don Cheadle as Rhodey. Because Don Cheadle is Rhodey.
Yeah.
And the other one is that we did not get a Captain America and the Falcon movie of just the two of them buddy superheroing their way. It would have been so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the periods are together, even like when they show them in Avengers, Age of Ultron and all. It's all super cool. I wish they would have had more of that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things they did well with Marvel movies is the people who are buddies feel like they're buddies.
Yeah.
There's just good chemistry together.
So I saw that earlier today, and I was like, oh, I need to mention that because that's one of the few. I wouldn't say one of the few. One of the Marvel movies I'm looking forward to a lot. TV shows is Falcon and Winter Soldier, because both of the characters and the actors are great. Can't wait to see what they're going to do, and also if they morph him from Falcon into Captain America.
Yeah, everyone was very certain they were going to do Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier, into Captain America. I'm really glad they chose Sam instead.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they do that.
It's comic accurate. Both are technically, I think, comics accurate, but it's very cool they did that instead.
Let's see. The next thing, one of the things I watched, I'm still watching The Order still. Slowly but surely, I'm watching the episodes of The Order. It's getting to feel a little CW. I'm like 5 episodes in, and it's getting to feel a little CW style, type thing. It's still not bad.
I want to point out, being CW-ish is not necessarily bad.
Correct.
But you're too CW, and you're just like, oh god, I can't anymore.
Yeah. But I'm getting that feeling, that vibe from it. So I'm kind of like, maybe, okay, we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. Because I'm hoping it does okay. I love the werewolves and the mages and all this stuff, so because they started bringing things in.
Jeez.
So we'll have to see. Right now, still watching, haven't turned it off, haven't stopped it. So we'll keep that going. Kathy, what you got?
So, for the first time ever, I finally watched the movie Stargate.
The original movie, huh?
The movie, yes.
Russell James Baker?
Yes.
How'd that go?
I almost turned it off at the beginning when they said the pyramids were made by aliens. I was like, because there's people who believe that, like in real life, and oh my god.
That's actually a good thing to get out of the way early, because honestly, if people can't deal with that, you're not going to like that movie.
No.
So I had to just... I powered through that feeling.
You did your woosahs?
What?
You did your woosahs?
Yeah. It was okay.
Yeah. That would be my opinion of it, too. It is, as a movie goes, it is vastly overrated nowadays. It's not bad. It's also not really great.
I think
better than Beastmaster, though.
Yes.
I think what it is why that movie, everybody, is because of what it spawned after it, the TV show.
Oh, the TV show. I've seen a few episodes of Stargate SG-1. I've seen more episodes of Stargate Atlantis, and I've enjoyed those. Mm-hmm. But I never knew the basis, the theory, the first thing. I didn't know that background. Yeah. So
I think the big thing about Stargate is it feels older than it is.
Yeah.
the pacing, the action's very 70s, let's say. It wasn't contemporary for the time.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's of its time. It's fine. I mean, I'll watch it once in a while. I don't like go out of my way. It's not like, oh, you gotta watch Stargate. I can't believe you haven't seen Stargate. Come on, what's wrong? You haven't seen Stargate? It's definitely not there.
Well, now I can say that I've seen it. I like Kurt Russell and I like James Spader, and I can't believe how young James Spader looks.
Oh yeah.
I think James Spader did a much more interesting job in that movie than Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell wasn't given a lot to work with.
Oh yeah, he was very one-dimensional.
I think he played the hell out of that one dimension.
I mean, I love Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
You know.
But
So yes, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fine movie.
Costumes were fun.
Benioff said he was way into SG-1. SG-1 was amazing. I hated when that show was done because I was like, it was so cool. It had some cool stuff, but I mean, yeah, you look at what it spawned, and it was okay. This is cool because I got a great history, great story, great universe, and it's like really cool. And then you're like, the movie wasn't that awesome. It was cool. It was neat. It was different, but it wasn't, like you said, John. It feels old.
If I had seen it back when it was released when I was younger, I'm sure I would have loved it. Like Beastmaster.
It is a little bit of nostalgia there from the time it came out, but I'm also going to be the cynic opinion. I thought Stargate SG-1 was okay when I saw it on Showtime, and I never followed it after it moved. I didn't care enough to follow it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that time of my life was a time I wouldn't have necessarily cared. I was not big into media as much as I am now, but I just didn't care enough. It was fine. It just wasn't the thing. Also, I kept seeing Richard Dean Anderson as MacGyver, and it hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hellboop, we're talking Stargate.
Yeah, I just saw it for the first time ever.
Yeah. So, Gonzo, I think you might want to go into Knives Out, because it's 9:23.
Let me go to one. I did watch another episode of Alone. They were on break for a bit for last week, and still watching the new season, which is you have to last 100 days and outlast everybody else, and you get the $1 million. Still watching that. Just kind of an episode. I have a complaint about the show. The last 15 minutes is behind the scene footage and talking with the people that were on the show. I'm like, why don't you do that as like a second show or after the show's over?
Because no one's gonna watch it.
Yeah, I turn it off. I'm like, okay, we're done watching them do stuff. Done. I just turn it off and go somewhere else.
I don't blame you. I just every time Jar Jar shows up on a Clone Wars.
I did start watching a new show on Netflix called Crazy Delicious. It's a cooking show, and it's about people making really weird and elaborate food. Like this guy made a ham, but it was actually a watermelon. He took the watermelon, made it up to look like a ham, and like had the lines carved in it, and grilled it and baked it, and so it was a ham that was a watermelon.
If someone gives me a piece of ham and it ends up being a watermelon, I'm going to stab them.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
fair warning.
trickery.
I like watermelon good enough on a hot day, but
it was supposed to. The object was to make something different, completely outrageous, and some stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of looking. I'll watch some more episodes. It's just an interesting one. So I found out that Knives Out.
Forget with everything. Like, can I talk about her jazz album real quick?
Oh yeah, go with your jazz.
Yeah. So I was reminded today of the album Money Jungle. This is Duke Ellington. This is jazz, and I like old jazz. So this is Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, and Max Roach, all of whom I like as musicians, and they're all together on this album. And I was like, well, I don't have this one. I remember listening to it years ago, but I don't have it. So I look on Amazon, and it's free to listen to on Amazon Music. So I spent the afternoon listening to this album, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And that's my other media, and so we can talk about Knives Out because we're running late.
I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about Knives Out because you saw it again. Gonzo's off the first time, and I mean, I'll talk about it as much as I have to.
So on Amazon Prime, it's free, by the way. For
Yep.
people that don't know, you can see it, which I was really surprised it was already free, but not really. I was just like, oh, damn, it's free. I don't have to go rent it. So I watched it. I liked it. I have to say the cinematography is amazing. Every time I was watching it, I was doing the Chekhov's gun thing. I was like, all right, yep, yep. The acting is really, really good. It's a lot of fun. I love everything about the movie. I think there was, and I think it's a personal preference. I think there's a little bit of pacing thing because I was like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get to the end of it.
I
Type
never
thing.
same thing. It
Yeah.
was engrossed.
I was
I,
riveted.
I think it was just me. That's what I'm saying. Because when I watch a movie where it's like a mystery or a solving thing, I start solving it in my head right away, and start figuring out who did what and how they did it and everything. And it's just my mind. That's just the way I am. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. As a core, I think it was just more of a me issue.
I would be saying that, and I don't want to spoil what happens in the movie, but yeah, I see where the movie,
Yeah.
like, "Whoopah, suck it, Gonzo, you can't do that."
Yeah, but I thought it was really good. Good plot twists, good story twists. All the characters were outrageously over the top type thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
He,
it was
he
just.
played the gambit, and then what'd you think of the accent?
It's so off-putting, and that's the best way to put it because you don't hear and see him do that, and you're just like, no, that's not right. That's not right.
It's Bond, James Bond. God damn it, Daniel Craig. Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah. Hellboop says I probably won't watch it again because the spoil is done. You know what I'm saying? The mystery of it. But I mean, I really love the cinematography, how everything was filmed, how
It's
everything
like
was
Clue, though. After
positioned.
the first time, you're not watching it for the mystery.
Yeah,
You're watching it for other stuff. Yeah, well, Jim wanted to see it, so I watched it again. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm going to watch it again. It was
Yeah,
awesome. And I enjoyed it the second time around, too.
yeah. I'm gonna buy it so I can show my mom because my mom needs to see it.
There's a lot of different things going on in it, and it seems like in this show, there's not one thing they show you that doesn't mean something
correct.
in the movie.
Oh
You
god,
know?
there's a whole so the guy like on YouTube who does everything great about did a two-parter on Knives Out, which is great to watch after you've seen the movie.
Oh,
And then there's another channel I check occasionally called Just Right that does movie stuff and all. And he did a big deconstruction on Knives Out and how it changes genres, genres slash subgenres twice in the movie, which is super cool. And then he's got another one about what was inspired it, which I'm going to watch eventually. But it's really cool. It uses a lot of media a lot of tropes for movies very well. Even just at the end, Gonzo. How'd you like that last one?
I thought it was all really good.
Yeah, I love that last one because if you remember, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, because I mean, I had to explain to the person who was watching with me. It's like, what does that mean? I'm like, this is the reason why it's like that because of what they said previously about certain things. Everything's going to be this way. But like I said, it was really, really, really well done. The camera work was really cool. The way it was set up, the way everything was framed. Some of the lines were pretty funny too, especially when they were cracking on each other. The KFC remark just made me hilarious. Yeah, it was good. But I'm kind of like Hellboop when it comes to like mysteries and solving crime stuff. My brain goes, okay, it's this, and this. This is what it is. I'm done with it. But I don't think I could ever watch it again because I don't think it would have the same. I wouldn't watch it out of the reason everybody else would. I mean, I probably would sit and watch it with someone else type thing, but I don't think I would sit by myself and watch it again. I don't know who did like the cinematography on this, but definitely whoever did it needs major praise in the way everything was shot. It was done really good.
Yeah, it's a very, very good movie. It was.
Yeah. I only give it, I mean, y'all gave it 0. I only give it about a half, and that's just because it's me, just for the simple fact that there's mystery movies don't really hold me very well. But it did a really well job. I was really impressed with it. I really liked it. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
And
At least
Legionnaires, if
once.
you're in the chat room, I rate it just below Casablanca.
I would agree.
Casablanca scale.
I would agree with that.
It is a sleeper hit for sure.
It's one of those ones, if you like dialogue, a little bit of mystery, and the details and all, like the background sometimes is so much more interesting than the foreground. They do a good job with that.
Yeah. What goes around on the back end and behind the scene, or around the character, is important.
It's one of those rare movies that I look at and like it's well crafted and very well done. And as a bonus, I actually fucking enjoyed it. Rare movies, like I say, are well crafted and well done. The Dark Knight, very well crafted, very well done. I don't fucking enjoy that movie. That movie's not enjoyable to watch, but it's very well crafted. Much respect to it.
So, I liked it. I thought it was a great movie. Go see it. It's free on Amazon Prime if you have it. It's a good, solid movie. It's a movie that you can sit and eat dinner with. Is the best way to do it. You sit there and have a good drink and just sit there and enjoy it.
Oh, I thought you meant like, this movie's so nice you can invite it out to dinner, give it a little dinner,
Or that.
Yeah.
Or that. But I recommend it also. It only gives like a half of one just because it's kind of me thing. But
I look at it. I was
bad.
kind of worried it was going to be a Ready Player One thing where he's like just shit.
It's because you're just hyper. You're just so hyper. You always have to be doing 3 things at one time.
I do, and it's like I can't watch like Law and Orders and NCIS and Criminal Minds, all that.
You could watch NCIS.
Well, the thing is
Dude, I watched Perry Mason.
I heard the new series is really good, by the way.
I didn't even realize it until today that they are making new Perry Mason.
Yeah, it's on HBO, and it's gotten like extremely good ratings too.
I don't have I don't have a cable, so I have to wait and see if it comes out on Amazon or on Netflix or something at some point.
If it's HBO, it'll probably go to HBO Max.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
I'll try and watch an episode when I get my login.
I'll just continue to watch Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr. That sounds good.
Yeah. So, other than that,
I'm John.
guys, that is another episode of More Than Dice. Everybody's ready to get the hell out of here.
Oh, really?
Guys, take care of yourselves. Watch out for each other. Do everything nice. Kindness goes a long way.
Tell somebody you love.